Welcome to Talk to Brazil with Tom Reaoch, the business connector to business in Brazil. Welcome to Talk to Brazil, the business connection, the world's first English language internet radio program about business in Brazil, now in podcast format. A professional business network is made up of people we meet every day. Our network grows and is sustained by maintaining contact with those connections. I'm Tom Reaoch, an American in Brazil for many years, and known as the King of Networking, business connector, speaker, and author on networking. I'm talking from the city of Campinas, the state of São Paulo, Brazil, so when you talk to Tom, you talk to Brazil and the world. Today's guest is Luis Rasquilha, and he's been a guest on Talk to Brazil for several times already. But today he's talking with us from São Paulo, Brazil. Luis is CEO of Inova Consulting and Inova Business School. He's a guest professor at FIA, which is the Fundação Instituto de Administração, also the Fundação Dom Cabral, and the Albert Einstein Hospital in São Paulo. He's a board member at Capitual and G100 Brazil, and also a columnist at MIT Sloan Management Review Brazil. Luis and I are members of the Future Advisory Board, which meets at ASIC Campinas, the Commercial and Industrial Association of Campinas. The Future Advisory Board was founded in 2014 through the initiative of Luis Rasquilha and started as a discussion group with CEOs focused on the future, trends, innovation, and business. So with that, and thanks for being with us on this Sunday at breakfast, Luis. Hello and welcome to Talk to Brazil.
Hello, Tom. Good morning. It's a pleasure to be with you at Talk to Brazil.
Good. I know you travel, I know your business, and we always meet up on weekends, which seems to be your free time.
But we don't have free time.
It's family time, right?
It's family time, but in the fourth industrial revolution, in the connected world, every time is connected time.
I know, and I always follow you on Instagram, and that seems to be the place you are either at home with your kid, out in a restaurant, or in an airport. So
yeah, every day is connected day.
And the next time I have Talk to Brazil, I don't want to talk to you anymore. I'm going to be talking with your son.
Well, he's starting the English language studying right now, so why not? In the next interview, we'll have Luis Guilherme speaking in English with you.
Okay. Well, as you travel throughout Brazil, the future keeps coming faster. Yeah? Trends never end. Innovation is now a buzzword used by children when they learn to talk. And businesses still struggle with the fast pace of change. So in terms of business innovation and the future, how do you see Brazil compared to other countries in the world?
No, that's a wonderful question. We are changing like every other countries. Brazil is not different from countries all over the world. I think Brazilian guys think here it's different, it's slower, or maybe because we are too big as a country, it's difficult to introduce innovations or changings. But I don't agree with that. I think, and traveling Brazil, traveling a little bit around the world, developing innovation consultancy programs with several corporations, with several professionals, I see Brazil is with a good energy to change. I think we are aware that we need to change.
Right.
Last 2 years, Brazilian executives, Brazilian corporations struggled after the crisis to understand what happened. And I think it's clear in Brazilian executive minds that the future is today, the future is present. So it's no longer something that you'll see in the future, is events and things that are happening today in our daily basis.
Right.
So the conscience, the mindset is clear. Of course, we have several challenges and difficulties and barriers to cross to implement these changes.
Right.
But it's a journey. It's not a 100 meters sprint. It's a marathon.
Right.
We are starting this marathon. Brazil is under big challenges and big transformations in political, economic, law vision. So we have several things to change, and lots of things are changing here.
Right.
And my vision is that, in fact, 8 years ago, when I arrived to Brazil and I started to talk about future trends, innovation, and importance of being aware what's coming in the future, so many people ask me, "Are you right? Do you think that will happen? It's real what you say?" And today I don't have more this kind of approach.
Right,
I say, "Well,
right.
you're right. The future is arriving. The future is here. How can we proceed?" So now, after the conscience clear about this changing, people are asking, "Okay, how can I start, and what will be my path to develop a transformation or an adapt approach to this new reality?"
No, I agree with you. I followed you since you came, and we met many years ago at an AmCham presentation. And that's exactly the point. I don't think, people don't ask you anymore, will it change? They ask you now, tell me more.
Right.
And
which is
the mindset.
Which is a big advantage, because I left the crazy guy tag. Because in 2011, 2012, people around Brazil say, "Well, this guy is crazy. He's speaking about something that will never happen."
Right.
And now I left the crazy tag, and people say, "Well, he's right, so help me more." So I think it's an advantage.
Well, crazy is good, right?
Yes.
Well, also I can see, and I mentioned that you actually, I've seen presentations you made where you have your son on stage with you, and you're not afraid about it. You include him in everything you do. And I think that's where change starts. Today it starts with kids.
Yes.
And it starts at school, and it's starting with him learning English and other things. So
education is the basis. I think one of the big problems in Brazil is that education is not at the core of priorities in the last years.
Right.
So, and it takes time. It takes generations to change a country and a society. And of course, there are kids. Entrepreneurship, innovation are entering the kids' education for good, and it's wonderful. I made a presentation at TED's in Campinas with Luis Rasquilha on stage. He had 6-7 months. Last year, with 2.5 years, I brought him to stage in Inova Day in Campinas. It was not a very good experience, because he broke a glass of water, and it was different. But I'm preparing him for be a speaker, so maybe I can recover my investment in these early years. So I don't know.
Well, you might find, like I said, that in a couple of years people won't want to hear you anymore.
Hope not.
You'll actually be in the audience listening to him. So
yeah. It's
actually,
a legacy.
You listen to him every day, and I think what you do, you actually see how the future impacts people in the present.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening. I think it's the major change you've helped make in Brazil in the group that we participate at the Future Advisory Board. So, crazy is good.
Crazy is good. The main challenge for the past, for today, is that we are part of the change.
Right.
Each one of us should be aware, and we have the power to make some kind of changes. And in our fathers or in grandfathers' generations was not like that, because you don't have, in the past, you didn't have so much options and so much tools or opportunities to change the world.
Well, really, at that time it was don't change, right?
Don't change. I do, right? Do it as I do, yes. Yeah. Do it as I do. It's the second industrial revolution, based on routine and process and methodology. Do as I said, and do as I do, so it will work. And today, the fourth industrial revolution, with connectivity and technology influence, you need to create something new. And the change starts on education, which is very difficult for professors, career professors, to change their mindsets, because they teach for 20-25 years at the same way, and education is based on routine education, and now they need to readapt their mindsets to start educating on creativity perspective, and each student should build their own path, their own journey, which is a big difference in education, and of course impacts corporations, because when you have the leadership, the more traditional one leadership say, well, I do that for the past 20 years and it works. Why don't you maintain this approach that will work? And it's not working right now. So
but you see that as you go throughout Brazil, do you have that same feeling? Because I know you go north, south, east, west. Farther in the distance, do companies and people share that same view?
You have the people who say, well, this is only a small movement, nothing will change, and of course they this kind of professionals, they have a problem in the next early years, and you have fortunately the majority people saying, well, it's working, it's changing, let's do something, let's try to readapt our corporations, our businesses, our mindsets, our views to this new reality, and the future it's here. So I think Brazil is running fast to the future, fast forwards, based on executive visions and maybe some leaders, some political ones that are aware of this changing, and Brazil is running. Of course, we have time, we have challenge, we have so much to do, but the path already started. So I think we are in a first phase of changing. And in the next 3 to 5 years, you will assist a major change in the approach of corporations in Brazil, Brazilian ones and international ones, profiting this wonderful country, this big country, and all the opportunities we have here to develop new business and to grow together as a country and as a human being.
Well, I think I've seen that, and we've seen that happening now in 2019. Brazil is back on the radar in a business sense. Foreign companies are looking to Brazil, and it's not only Europeans and Americans. The Chinese are here in a very strong way, and not only thinking, they're actually investing, starting up, and running. So I think the attraction from these companies and even educational institutions is lined up with that. Brazil is now standing out as an innovation and an innovative center.
Well, it's a notion of opportunities, because when you see only 20%, for instance, only 20% of the people with more than 18 years are in the university, it's amazing what you can do. When you see we are the second country in the world using WhatsApp or connecting to Uber, you see our behavior changing towards a connected world. So when you cross this kind of data, you can understand it's a wonderful place to be here. When you compare to Europe, for instance, there's a lot of problems based on aging population. When you cross with younger population, there's more aging people than the younger ones. In Brazil, it's not real. It's for now, in the next years, next decade, you'll have more youngers than the aging population. It's a wonderful opportunity to understand what's going on. So you see a country, biggest country than Europe as a continent. So you have so much difference, so much opportunity, so much stage in cities where you can enter. So it's natural when you see, of course, Brazilian approaching to United States in this kind of trades, politicals. When you see Brazil going towards a Mercosul contract with Europe. So there are signs here that say Brazil is getting out, it's getting on the way. It's back on the map. It's back on it's back on the game.
Well, it's always been on the map, and the people just find it because it pops up more, right?
It was on the map, but it's a gray map, so I think it's a colorful map now, a yellow and blue map now.
Now, well, yesterday, actually, what you just said is right. I interviewed Alex Fosel, our our colleague in the Future Advisory Board. He's from John Deere, and he's back in the United States. I spoke with him. He was in Moline, Illinois yesterday, and he agreed. He said, when I asked him about technology in Brazil, he says, no, that he feels from the agricultural side that the agricultural sector has assimilated technology faster than other parts of the world.
Yes.
And also he agreed that much of that drive is because even the farmers and the farm owners, it's now in their second or third generation. It's the younger persons who lead the major farms and the drive in agriculture.
Yes.
So that all fits together, and everybody's connected.
And you see, when you discussed about agro-business, agriculture, the people outside the business say, well, but agro is very conservative. No, it's not. The millennial generation is arriving.
Right.
Of course, it's changed. It takes time, of course.
Right.
But it's changing. So you see agro in Brazil, it's one of the major supporting economy businesses. Mm-hmm. And you see everyone is using digital farming, the agrobots, big data, IoT, and wherever to be more productive and more efficient.
Right.
So it's one of the, I think, like you see agriculture, you see the banking businesses, you see insurance business, you see telecom. They are so much advanced when you compare with other countries. Right. For instance, finance and banking security is one of the best in the world.
That's true.
Here.
That's true.
So it's odd when you say, but Brazilian ones are the more criticism about themselves. It's Brazil is very bad. Nothing happens. And you, wait. Let's see in the outside, a foreigner perspective. See what's happening in the cybersecurity. See what's happening in the agriculture. See what's happening in the startups movement in Campinas, in São Paulo, and in Florianopolis, wherever. Right. So when you see with this lens, with this perspective, you say you can affirm, you can convict it that Brazil is back on the game for sure and for real.
Right, and starting, and I think in the very near future, Brazil will lead in certain segments of the game.
For sure,
I think that's the attraction. But I agree with what you're doing with your son. The basis and everything starts with learning another language, being English, Spanish, Mandarin.
Yeah,
because to communicate and to explain
I still believe in English. I still believe in English because when extraterrestrials will land in Earth, they will speak English. So let's maintain first the English, and then of course Spanish, Mandarin, Portuguese, which is the fifth language in the world. We need to be flexible in language approach, education approach, mindset approach. We need to be more flexible to understand and to adapt to this fast-changing world.
Well, that all fits with education. The more you learn, the more you're able to learn.
Yeah.
And so it has to start with the first step. And previously it was a book. Today it's a digital file or a TED speaking event, and that's how we learn.
Yeah, in the future will be implanted in your brain. So it will be a downloads of knowledge.
Right, download knowledge. And we've talked about at the Future Advisory Board, everything's going to be voice-oriented. So
voice-oriented,
if you're not found in a voice search, you're not found.
Yeah.
It's not that you don't exist, but nobody's going to find you.
It's the biggest change in human history. We are at the center of it, and I think we need to profit more about this moment and about the opportunities that we'll have in the way.
Well, I think that's the key word that you just used, profit, and that's what's driving the change here. People have finally seen that there's money in change, there's money in innovation, and I don't think it's something further down the line. They're making money, and it's coming to bear right now.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you need to have more money in your life to maintain your growth. Mm-hmm. So we can like it or not, but that's life.
Well, we need that. You had to buy your bread and butter and your coffee this morning, and that has to come from somewhere. Yeah. Right?
That's it.
Well, Luis, I want to thank you for sharing your Sunday morning breakfast.
It's a pleasure.
With your family, with us, and for our audience. And certainly we'll have you back in the future, okay?
I hope so. I'm here when you want. It's a pleasure.
So I'd also like to thank and invite our audience to visit our website, talktobrazil.com, where you'll find today's interview with Luis Rasquilha and links to his LinkedIn profile and the Inova Business School here in Brazil. You can also find this and our previous shows of Talk to Brazil on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Himalaya, and many, many others. And thank you, our audience. Remind everyone that today's program was brought to us by Focus MI Market Intelligence, and Focus MI specializes in the market research for the Brazilian agricultural market. More about them on their site, which is focusmi.com. Remember, when you talk to Tom, you talk to Brazil and the world. Goodbye, and thanks for listening. Thanks for listening to Tom Reaoch on Talk to Brazil, the business connector to Brazil.